welcome to West Valley City, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake for the big kickoff of women's collegiate gymnastics in 2026. Competing today, Michigan State, coming off a 6th place finish last year at the NCAAs, their best ever in program history. Joining them, Michigan Wolverines. They won it in 2021. Now they got a new head coach. They're trying to get back to the top of the mountain. The Cal Bears, they were a top 10 the last 2 years, 2nd in 2024, just missing their first ever team championship. Can they get there this year? And then finally, the Kentucky Wildcats, 4 straight top 10 NCAA finishes, trying to keep that dominance going with a lot of new faces. Welcome to the 2026 Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. Welcome inside the Maverick Center as we get ready to watch 4 top 20 teams face off: Michigan State, Cal, Kentucky, and the Michigan Wolverines. Hello everyone, I am John Roethlisberger, joined by Olympic champion Allie Raisman, Olympic silver medalist Sam Pesek. Always great to be with you guys. Allie, what a competition we had earlier today in the first quad meet.
That first session lived up to the hype. It came down to the last athlete from LSU and Oklahoma. There was a tie. They broke the tie, and Oklahoma ended up winning the competition.
Certainly proving why they are in the conversation of 4 of the top teams in the country. But another team that wants to be in that conversation is Michigan State. They finished 6th last year, highest in program history. Head coach Mike Rowe said that last year they were excited to get to nationals, but this year they want to compete in the finals.
Clearly great teams competing here, but these great teams are driven by great athletes, and we've got some budding stars in this session.
Yeah, Michigan State's Kayla Tucker. This is going to be her first meet competing in the all-around. She's an upperclassman, so that's a really big deal. You got to look out for her long, beautiful lines in her gymnastics. And the coaches told me that the reason it's different for her this year is because she's had this attitude of wanting to be undeniable.
And Delaney Rodriguez from Kentucky, we're going to see her anchoring 3 out of 4 of the events tonight. And I'm told she has a vault upgrade. I'm really hoping that we see that tonight. She is one of the most consistent athletes in all of NCAA.
Yeah, maybe one of the biggest stars, though, guys, competing is the Spartan Nikki Smith, Allie.
Nikki Smith is so fun to watch. She has the highest all-around score ever recorded for MSU because she does massive vaults like this, and she's also the only gymnast in MSU history to get a perfect 10 on floor. And my favorite part, most difficult, dismount being done in the entire competition.
She is a lot of fun to watch. Well, the 3 of us do not have to do this alone. We're joined by Taylor Davis. Taylor's got more on the coaching changes this year.
Well, John, we welcome in a new season, but we also welcome in a new era for 2 of these 4 programs. For Michigan, longtime head coach Bev Plotke retired after 36 years, passing the baton to former assistant coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin. And for Cal, Justin and Liz Howell headed out east to take over the Clemson program after 13 years at Berkeley. And it is Geraldine Stack-Eaton taking the reins after 11 seasons as an assistant at Minnesota. 2 first-time head coaches that tell me we're looking to build on the legacy that was built before us, but looking to do it our own way. John.
Their tenures at their respective schools. Well, I tell you what, the season is underway. Michigan State, Michigan, Cal, and Kentucky all want to show the country they're going to be contenders in 2026. quad meet format works. Vault and beam will alternate, bars and floor will alternate. So no more than 2 routines going at one time, and you should see virtually all of the gymnastics. 2 judges per apparatus. They add judges as we get into the postseason, but for this competition, just 2 judges. Those scores are averaged, and that is the gymnast final score. Must-see routines. Allie, Sam, who are some of those routines that we want to make sure to keep an eye on in this first rotation?
I'm going to start with Sage Kellerman from Michigan State on vault. She just catapults off the table. She's going to do a front handspring. Front half twist starts at a 10.0.
And I'm going with Cal's Tanya Paulson. She's just a freshman, but she's 22 years old, has lots of international experience, and you are going to fall in love with her bar routine and all of her lines she shows off.
So a couple of the athletes to watch. We got a catapult reference, by the way, Sam, from Allie in that first rotation. Anytime you use catapult in relationship to vault, don't miss it. Equivalent to a can't miss routine. So again, Michigan State, Michigan, Kentucky, and Cal in this session. Michigan State will be on vault. Cal Bears begin their competition on the bars. Kentucky will be on balance beam, and the Michigan Wolverines, they get going on the floor exercise. Do you guys have a preference on where you started as athletes? Curious.
I didn't. You just have to do all of them at one point or another in your career, so you better not have a favorite, was what I was taught.
I think regardless of where you start, it's very nerve-wracking.
All right, here we go. Emma Meisenheimer, the junior for Michigan State, getting going here on the vault.
Yurchenko full. Her chest is a little low on the ending, but she was trying to hang on to it because of how much she lifted off the table. So really good controlled landing to start things off for Michigan State.
So Michigan State underway on their first event. And over on the uneven bars, as we mentioned, the Cal Bears will begin there. Nikki Adorito will be the first athlete to go on that event. Senior out of Mesa, Arizona, in Desert Devils Gymnastics. Going to add in the beam routine. You can see how the dual box there shows 2 routines going at one time. Sharon Lee for Kentucky starts things off for the Wildcats over on the balance beam.
And on bars, the first athlete to go up for the team, but especially on an event like bars where you have to be calm, is so nerve-wracking. That first release move, well done, connects it right immediately into the low bar.
Man, really unfortunate and uncharacteristic fall from Sharon Lee on her triple series. That is not the way Kentucky wants to start, especially seeing how Utah started their competition earlier today.
Yeah, Utah had so much trouble on beam. 3 falls, if I remember correctly. And your first athlete up on any of the events you're going to fall, beam seems like maybe the worst one to do it, Allie, because you got to have 5 hit routines after that.
It certainly adds a lot of pressure, but this is their first competition back. It is so nerve-wracking as it is starting on beam, and when you're on the podium like these athletes are, the beam is bouncier. So if your legs are a little shaky from the nerves, it's easy to get off the beam.
Oh, man.
Sophie Parenti, right side of your screen, the sophomore, starting off things for the Wolverines, and unfortunately for Sharon Lee, things continue to go badly.
Yeah, remember that they can drop 1 routine, so this does not ultimately mean Kentucky's going to count this score, but a lot of pressure on the back half of the lineup. Kentucky's head coach Tim Garrison told us that it's not usually the mistakes that get you, it's the overreaction. So he wants to see how his team is going to bounce back from this.
Kayla Tucker, second gymnast to go on vault from Michigan State, following Meisenheimer's 9.75.
Left-hand side of your screen, watch how high she gets in the air. Big 1.5, but unfortunately a big hop forward as well. Judges are going to be taking that into consideration.
Sophie starting off strong for Michigan, good clean landings.
Take a look, really strong arm positions, and see how high she gets in the air. She's already a taller gymnast, and it's just so beautiful to see how much block she gets off the table. I think she was a little bit higher and had a little stronger pop than she anticipated.
Yeah, and consider the vault table about 5 feet or so high, and her head is over 6 feet higher than the vault table. So shout out to all the basketball players right now. She's above the rim as we go back to bars. Maya Wiley finishing up.
What I noticed about Maya's bar routine is her toes were glued together the entire time. So hard to be able to do the simple, do your normal, what you do every single day. When the lights go up, when the judges put their hand up, it's so hard to do what you do every single day in practice. Well done.
Michigan, one of those teams, y'all, that I'm curious to see where they're going to be, because they're a storied program. They won that 2021 title and kind of been a little bit of a step down each year since then, but they have got a pedigree, and I'm curious to see what their new head coach, Miley Caneva-Hermelin, has got up her sleeve. Cecily Rizzo, the junior for Kentucky now, following that 8.55 from Lee.
Yeah, this is the most critical position for Kentucky right now, and like Tim Garrison told us on the calls, he actually said, if something goofy happens, do you have the ability to stay focused? That's Cecily's job.
Freshman Quincy Walters, right hand of your screen for the Wolverines. Parenti, a 9.775 in the leadoff spot.
Left-hand side of your screen, back handspring layout, no problems there. It's her job to just remember her mental cues. Usually you have a routine that you say in your head that's the same during practice and competition. So if you're thinking about that, you're not thinking about how much pressure is on you right now.
And Quincy just did a beautiful front double twist, stuck that cold. Coaches talk about how she writes sticky notes all over the gym, brings so much positivity, writes kind things to her teammates on those sticky notes.
Wow, round off 1.5 for Cecily Rizzo. That's the way coaches are hoping she would respond.
Rachel Garrison, the primary beam coach for the Kentucky Wildcats, you can see with the hug as Rizzo walked off the mat.
I think Michigan's going to be really happy with that. I didn't see any landing deductions from Quincy. And watch this first tumbling pass right here. She just sticks it. Arms go right out to the side in order to stick that landing.
And just a freshman. She's good on floor, though, as a junior, won in the 2025 championship, national championship on that event. Now on vault, Michigan State again. Duplessis, wow, with a big 1.5.
Very clean shapes in the air. Strong commanding landing. That's going to put up a big score for Michigan State.
Katie Duplessis, a sophomore out of Spring Lake, Michigan, and champion Gymnastics USA. Annalise Newman-Ashe for Cal now. The third gymnast to go. Scores building, 9.875 for Wiley.
What I noticed about this bar routine is how elongated her shoulders are, just stretched out, and caught that release move right on her fingertips. Extra beautiful. Beautiful dismount, just that step to the side, going to be at least a 10th deduction.
So Cecily Rizzo, a 9.8. We call that stopping the bleeding. There was a lot of bleeding with that 9.855 to open, but that is a big score for her. And now the second gymnast to go, Chesney Bennett for Kentucky.
And another thing, other than the score, is it's a vibe change for Kentucky on beam. Having to go after an athlete that hit her routine. Ooh, way to save that handspring layout series. I really do love the difficulty that Kentucky's showing right here.
Yeah, that's a big time acro pass. Don't see a lot of those.
It is. It must be so hard as a coach and as an athlete to decide, do you take that big risk? With big risk comes big reward, but of course when you're connecting 3 skills in a row, it's so much easier to fall off the beam.
But her main job, regardless of any wobble, is just to stay on right now.
One of the stars to watch in this competition, Sophia Diaz from Michigan, just a sophomore. Had a great debut as a freshman last year, looking to build on it.
One step on the dismount, almost finished it as strong as she possibly could. Well, this is fun.
Allie, you'll love this. Inspired to do gymnastics by none other than the 2012 Olympic team. You know anything about that team?
I didn't know that. It's so sweet.
Heading back over to vault. Corinne Marquardt, the freshman from Cypress, Texas, following a 9.85.
Another Yurchenko, 1.5 in their lineup, and another good landing. A little bit under-rotated at the end, and I'd like her to finish a little taller, but overall, nicely done.
And Sophia Diaz, I love the back layout step out. We saw that earlier from McKenna Smith from Utah. I love the originality and how beautiful that looks.
In case anybody missed my reference out there, Allie Raisman, 2012-2016 Olympic champion. Champion part's fun, isn't it?
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Handspring layout. You see her eyes are looking at the end of the beam, but after her first layout, that back heel wasn't even touching the beam as she went for her third acro.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. This is a quad meet. 4 teams, Michigan State, Cal Bears, University of Kentucky Wildcats, and the Michigan Wolverines. This is the second of 2 quad meets today. First one was certainly a barn burner. This one looks to be great as well, as we have 4 top 20 ranked teams. We're approaching the halfway point of this first rotation. Kentucky's Candace Gormley on the left, fighting to stay on the beam.
Wow.
And Sage Melkonian on the right from Cal going, what a save, Sam.
That is incredible. They already have 1 fall in the lineup, so she knows how much is on the line.
And also what's impressive to me is Sage might be able to hear the crowd gasping and everyone fighting for what's happening on beam. So for Sage to be able to keep her composure, very impressive.
Yeah, even though she stayed on the beam, balance errors, you can get up to 3. And my guess is the judges are probably going to take 3/10, the full amount, since she had so many arm wobbles. But if it were up to me, you'd have to get a few impressive points. The fight and determination and grit, that is what head coach Tim Garrison wants to see. Look at her arms. So the worst thing you can do is continuing to move, but she's balancing. Oh.
Got a little smile from her coach, Rachel Garrison,
wow.
in the background. This is Carly Bauman from Michigan. And by the way, I'm John Roethlisberger. Who cares about that? But I am joined by a couple of Olympic medalists, too. If you're just joining the show, Olympic champion Allie Raisman, Olympic silver medalist Sam Pesek. They are the experts. Nikki Smith on vault.
Huge. Yurchenko, 1.5. She does a nice job of finding that landing. I can't wait to see her stick that later this season.
Carly Bauman in her 5th year. Going to be such an important part of this Michigan Wolverine team, not just from a gymnastics standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. She was part of that 2021 team that won the national title, so she knows what it takes, and certainly going to try to teach those younger athletes coming up in Ann Arbor.
Great control on that last tumbling pass. I noticed Carly actually walked into that last tumbling pass because sometimes when you're excited, you have so much adrenaline, you don't want to go out of bounds.
Gabby Van Freyen for Kentucky now mounts the balance beam. Gormley right before her, a 9.45. You don't want to count that score, but that fight probably saved them some points.
really nice and unique. That's hard. Back handspring to a no-D series. Finishing forward is really a blind landing, so extra difficult.
And she's the only one in the competition doing that connection.
I watched her as an elite gymnast, and I've really been looking forward to seeing her compete in college. She has such beautiful lines and great composure about herself.
You mentioned she is a former elite gymnast, Sam, also a junior national champion on this event, the balance beam. Just a freshman. Mounting the bar, senior Casey Brown for Cal. They've been consistent, still looking for that big 9-9 score are the Cal Bears.
First competitive routine, first stuck landing for Gabby Vinfran. Things are going well for her.
And Casey making this routine look so effortless. The form is so nice. That, in my opinion, is going to be their biggest score.
Sky high on that dismount.
That pack salto from the high bar to the low bar was so breathtaking, floated.
Nikki Smith on vault for Michigan State equals their high score so far with that 9.85, and one to watch. Sage Kellerman, well, here you go.
I want you to just count how long she's in the air after her hands leave the table. She gets so much block. Oh, wow. That was extremely uncharacteristic. She missed the block completely. Yeah. That's normally her secret weapon on this event.
I don't normally call out my analysts, but Sam has jinxed more than a few people today, and that might have been one of those moments. Unfortunate mistake for Sage Kellerman, and normally such a great vault to watch. Jumping over to the floor exercise. Jazara Ranger. You talk about fun athletes to watch. This is certainly one of them. Just a sophomore for the Wolverines.
Yeah, John, check out how high she's going to get on this tumbling pass.
Oh, and like a dart, nails it. Delaney Rodriguez will anchor this beam rotation. Talk about somebody who's just been the epitome of consistency since she stepped on campus in Lexington. It's Delaney Rodriguez, and she needs to deliver one here on what's been somewhat of a tough beam rotation for the Wildcats.
Well, she's the perfect person to be in this spot because since she got to Kentucky, coaches have called her unfazed, which is why up until this point, she's been in the leadoff spot. No problem. She didn't even think about wobbling there. She's actually anchoring on 3 of the 4 events, and coaches really call her an enigma just by the way that pressure does not affect her in the same way that it does for other gymnasts.
An enigma is a compliment in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been called that, not compliment, but that.
I'm like,
yeah.
Yes, I meant that as a compliment. Look at her. She's crushing this beam routine under so much pressure. They're not in the clear yet until she lands on her feet. She saved the day. Even with that step, they're not going to have to count a fall now, all thanks to the back half of that lineup, which is exactly what head coach Tim Garrison right there wanted to see from the resilience of his team.
And check this out for Rodriguez real quick. 84 of 100 routines she's ever competed have been a 9.8 or better. 84% of the time she's going 9.8 plus, and that is not easy to do. Back over to the uneven bars in that anchor spot. Tanya Paulson.
I love watching her elbows on this event because they do not bend. She's so extended through all of her movements, toes pointed.
Oh.
Allie, I'm going to call you out. You said Casey Brown's routine was going to be the highest score of the rotation, and you had good reason, but she might have just got one up there.
I agree. Well, you know what? This is what the coaches want, is they want the scores to rise after each athlete. So watch this, legs glued together. This is a different angle than the judges see, so that minute leg separation that we saw is actually normal and safe, and the judges won't see that. So that, I agree, John, should be the highest score.
Well, you just saw why she was the ACC Gymnast of the Week and the Newcomer of the Week. I think we're going to see big things from Tanya this year.
And a lot of new faces at Cal. They lost 16 of the 24 routines that competed for them last year. So you mentioned it, Sam. Tanya Paulson is going to be huge for them. Audrey Sanger now in the anchor spot for Michigan. Jazara Ranger a 9.775. So consistent rotation for Michigan. None of those big exclamation point scores like we got from Cal at the end of that bar rotation.
Typically, in the beginning of the season, first meet on podium, it's not uncommon to see a lot of athletes over-rotating, going out of bounds. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with Michigan's ability to be able to control their landings and really know where they are in this big arena, in this environment.
Obviously, you've noticed our scoring tower on the right. Each gymnast competing for each team is listed. As their scores come in, they will populate. Also a reminder, as Sam said, you count the top 5 scores for each team. You drop the low. You can see Kentucky trying to drop that 8.55. The low score is shaded lighter. So should everything stay the same and that's the low score, it will get dropped at the end of the rotation.
Interestingly enough, Audrey wasn't originally slated in this floor lineup. A lot of coaches make changes in the 30-second touch depending on who's showing up better or stronger or more ready, and great decision because that was phenomenal.
Let's go back to vault real quick. We were very excited to see this vault from Sage Kellerman, and obviously it went sideways, but maybe we can identify what may have gone wrong.
Normally, her secret weapon is a balk, but if you watched ever so slightly, she slid on the table. I don't know if her hands were slippery, but right as she hit, instead of blocking up, she scooted forward, and probably great decision on her part not to go for the full vault and take a safer option out.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you've never vaulted, if your hand slips at all, you have any of that movement, it immediately sends the shockwave to your brain,
yeah.
and it's impossible to adjust.
It's
just one of
dangerous.
those.
And sometimes you just don't know where you are because you're in a completely different position and angle than you're used to being.
Waiting for one more score to come in for Audrey Sanger. The Cal Bears, they are going to be in the lead regardless of the score. Sanger score a 9.8. That does move Michigan into the 2 spot. Michigan State in 3rd, and Kentucky rounds out the top 4 teams. One rotation in the books. Are getting ready for 2. Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad is brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market, powering women on and off the mat.
at the Maverick Center and the third annual Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. We're through one rotation. We begin a new gymnastics season here today, but we also begin a new era for two of these four programs. For Michigan, longtime head coach Bev Plotke retired after 36 years, passing the baton to former assistant coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin. And for Cal, Justin and Liz Howell, after 13 years, headed out east to take over the Clemson program, and it's Geraldine Stack Eaton that takes the reins after 11 seasons as an assistant coach at Minnesota. I had the opportunity to speak with both of these first-time head coaches that are excited to build on the current legacy of both of these programs. For Miley Caneva-Hermelin, she credits learning from two of the best, a former Oklahoma gymnast who trained under Hall of Famer KJ Kindler. The two were able to reunite here before this meet. Got to catch up. I asked KJ Kindler, what's prepared Miley for this opportunity? She said she oozes energy and doesn't do anything at less than 200%. Miley spoke with me about this dream, said it was something she realized her freshman year of college when she found a blood clot in her wrist. She wasn't sure what her future in the sport would entail, and she knew in that moment she wanted to stay in gymnastics in whatever capacity she could. And so began the dream of becoming a head coach. That dream becomes realized at the very place that she has been equipped by one of the other greats in Bev Plotke. And Miley told me this week, I can't be Bev Plotke 2.0. I have to be Miley, but I am learning from the best, and I intend to put that forward as my head coaching role begins. A lot to be excited about for the future of both of these programs, and a lot to be excited about for the next three rotations. We've got a close competition, and it's sure to continue to deliver.
Brown, watch this skill right here. A pack salto just floats effortlessly from the high bar to the low bar and then sticks the landing. Loved seeing the cadence that Casey had. And Tanya Paulson, we cannot forget about this routine. The highest score for Cal, a 9.95. The toe point, everything is just stretched from the bar all the way to the ceiling. Just superb. And look at this, her toes are pointed, her toes are squeezed together. Perfect.
Well, Kentucky started out with a fall, but they fought the entire way through the rest of this lineup. Chesney Bennett, handspring layout, saved herself a fall, and this was the most impressive work I've seen. Still gritting through it. You see a little smile from Rachel Garrison. They want their athletes to be tough, and that's what they showed in the first event.
I think she was a Jedi right there. She defied gravity. Let's take a look at today's meet summary brought to you by AAI. One rotation in, obviously a long way to go, but Cal bears a .275 lead on the strength of those last two bar routines, 9.925 and a 9.95 from Brown and Paulson, as Allie just highlighted. So they got the early lead. Long way to go, a lot of gymnastics, but if you're Cal, you've got to feel good right now. Lily Clapper getting ready to go to lead things off for the Michigan Wolverines. They sit in second, just .275 behind the leaders, the Cal Bears.
First time competing for Michigan. She's a senior. Coaches say she's just such a hard worker. Unfortunately, had a pretty deep landing there. We'll probably see that reflected in the score.
Our first look at Nia Howard, a recent transfer from the University of Georgia. Certainly Michigan State thrilled to have her. She is a senior. Here she is leading off bars.
And this first release move is called a church. Keeps her legs together. Most athletes straddle. Has to get so much higher to avoid hitting her heels on the bar. And then this double tuck dismount. Watch the way she opens up. Excellent.
Nicely done from Howard. Cayenne Mayhew for the Cal Bears leads things off on beam, hoping to get a better start than we just saw from Kentucky. These early routines in beam can't be overstated the importance.
Her routine is a little bit shorter than the rest of the lineup, but you'll see she has good rhythm from when she finishes her skills. Ooh. Balance check, opened her hips slightly in the landing, taking a deep breath to recenter herself. That's always a good idea if you start wobbling or feeling like you're getting a little nervous on balance beam.
And Sam, I actually saw her fall in the 30-second touch, and it is so difficult to erase what just happened and to pretend that you did it well and to go up there and just do your normal. So much easier said than done.
Another look at Gabby Van Frame for Kentucky, this time on floor exercise.
Always difficult to be the first one up to go on floor because they all just warmed up. So the athlete that goes first has to have enough endurance to get through the warm-up and have enough time to rest to be able to do this minute-and-a-half routine.
We saw head coach Tim Garrison in the corner there on that previous shot in his 15th season. Did tell us for this competition, this is the event that he's kind of most concerned about, that might need the most growth during the course of the season. Lost some great athletes from last year, but also without Kreslin Brose. She is a junior, and she is sensational on this event, not competing because of injury. Peyton Davis on vault for Michigan, left hand to your screen.
Yurchenko full. Little pike down at the end, but I like how much height she got off the table.
And John, to your point, Kentucky's replacing 15 out of 24 routines, and that's significant.
So first routine, they get a hit.
And watch her chest position in this split jump. Did a good job of saving it, but right here, that front leg is too low. Judges would love to see chest back, but did the best that she could. Took off from a little bit of a lower angle.
Over to the balance beam now with the Cal Bears. Cayenne Mayhew, a 9-7 to start things off. Sarah Lee, now the gymnast in the 2 spot, a freshman from Arcadia, California. Kayla Tucker from Michigan State on the uneven bars.
Sarah Lee gearing up for her series. Coaches say that they really have to cut her off on the numbers, that she's always wanting to fix those mistakes. But that's why you can see how meticulous she is about correcting herself in the air.
And Michaela Tucker just nailing that handstand, so elongated, just that half a tenth deduction, but they're gonna be so thrilled with that.
Great start for Michigan State. They were almost a half a point behind the Cal Bears after that first rotation. Certainly not a place they want to be.
Good second routine. All those numbers paid off. Head coach Geraldine Stack-Eaton's gonna be proud of that one.
I watched MSU in practice yesterday, and I gotta tell you, I was so impressed the way that they hit routine after routine. They stuck every single dismount. I was really floored by how well and how consistent they were.
Mike Rose just done a tremendous job with that program in his 9th season. Best finish ever in program history last year. Isabella Ravelli for Kentucky on floor exercise. Ava Jordan for Michigan, left hand to your screen on the vault.
Powerful athlete. Yurchenko full, but big hop backwards on vault. A large step can be 2/10.
These moments right here are often choreographed to help the athletes breathe and relax, recenter themselves before their tumbling passes.
Sage Melkonian on balance beam for the Cal Bears.
Just a sophomore, but never competed last year. Wow, that was beautiful.
And Sage actually fell on that in the warm-up, so I'm extra impressed how quickly she was able to be so mentally tough to nail that.
Sometimes I find if you fall in warm-up, it's actually easier to make it in the competition. If you do too good, it's hard to duplicate that and put it in your pocket. We saw that earlier today with some vaults.
I talked to associate head coach Rich Stenger from Cal, and I said, you know, who should we watch? And he goes, I'm telling you, I think Sage Melkonian is one of those that you're going to be surprised with, that she's going to surprise some people. Looks good here. Kendall Abney on bars from Michigan State follows a 9.875, a pair of 9.875s in the first two athletes for the Spartans. Wow.
Oh, I'm very impressed that she's keeping going. She caught the bar so close, was really lucky she didn't hurt herself on the high bar, and then still managed to have enough swing to get that low bar. I'm very impressed.
The height probably helped. You could see it coming and maybe prepare a little bit.
And watch her face and her elbows. She had to bend her elbows in order to avoid hitting her face on the bar. I'm so glad she's okay. I don't know how she was able to keep that swing, but wow.
She was part of that 2021 national title team. This is Reina Gugino, 5th year for the Wolverines.
Yurchenko, 1.5, puts it to her feet. Really struggled on that in warm-up and earlier today. Paul Judah, her fiance.
Olympic bronze medalist Paul Judah for Team USA for the men. Won in dramatic fashion in Paris in 2024. He's loving it. Harder to be a fan or a supporter of a gymnast than a gymnast.
Well, I was talking to him about Reina, and that's exactly what he said. Now that he's not an athlete himself, he's actually more nervous and more concerned about her. So nice to see that she safely made that to her feet.
He is retired, working in the real estate industry. Chesney Bennett, the sophomore on floor exercise for Kentucky. Mickey Andorito for Cal Bears on the balance beam. Left hand of your screen. We're past the halfway point for Cal in this rotation. She's the 4th one to go.
Cal had to replace so many routines. So for Mickey, this is also her first time competing beam in her career. And a lot of this is learning, not just for the athletes, but for the coaches, watching how they respond to pressure, how they respond to the podium, that little extra bounce you get on the elevated surface. But so far, so good. Cal looks like they're just moving nicely through these routines so far. Hitch kick into that switch half. I'd like to see a little bit more split. Judges are looking for the 180-degree split position. But another hit routine for Cal.
So Adorinto loves it.
Not too shabby for your first time competing beam.
Chesney doing a great job. I love to see athletes taking the risk of doing 3 tumbling passes on floor, especially ending with a difficult double tuck.
So you can see a 9.625 and a 9.7 for Kentucky so far on floor. If you're in the world of women's gymnastics and you want to be one of the top teams, certainly one of the top 10 teams, those scores won't get you there. And obviously we are early in the season, things are gonna build and grow. But 9.85s, 9.9, certainly 9.9 plus are the ones that will get you there. As Jazara Ranger, big time vaulter.
Wow, so much lift, and it's improved from last year. She's really cleaned up her form in the air.
She follows Gugino's 9.825 as we jump back over to the uneven bars. Michigan State's Lilia Kosman now.
She competed in the 2024 Olympics to help Romania advance to the team final where they placed 7th. So even though she's new, she does have experience competing under pressure.
Certainly no stage bigger than the Olympics. She's having fun. She's having a good time for a freshman. Anytime you see a freshman busting some dance moves, you gotta know they're relaxed.
How can you not laugh when Mike Rowe is giving you that huge grin from the sidelines?
Abby Scanlon on beam for the Cal Bears, 9.825 for Aderinto right before her. So a couple of 9.8 scores for Cal. Would love to finish this beam rotation the way they finished that bar rotation with a couple of 9.9 pluses. Can they do it?
She competed beam last year and she looks so confident. Her posture is strong. Good arm movements and placements, nice rhythm into her skills. Slight pause there. I want to see that combination moving through.
Callie Gardner now for Kentucky on floor. They have back-to-back scores in the 9.6s. That means they are going to have to count one of them. Right now it's at 9.675.
And that was Callie's first time ever competing a double layout. So huge accomplishment. That's not an easy skill.
Oh, almost hung on to that stick, left-hand side of your screen, but job well done on the beam.
Well, John, I know Kentucky fans are disappointed to not see Kreslin Bros in this lineup. The athlete scored a perfect 10 on floor last year. Tim Garrison told us he's hopeful to have her back in time for their home opener. But because of that, a lot of newness. Allie, you just mentioned that was Callie's first time competing the double A. Chesney Bennett just made her floor debut. But I got to say, even with so much newness, this is a very loose, very energetic team down here in the crowd.
Thanks, Taylor. Yeah, Kentucky certainly has been a team that they have a good time when they're out there and you're going to perform at your top, especially on floor exercise. You got to be a showman. And they have been recently jumping back over to vault. Sophia Diaz finishing it for Michigan.
Really nicely done. She stalled out. You can see her face because I thought she was going to stick that, but miscued the timing of the finish just slightly, but I bet we see a stick from her later in the season.
She's an individual qualifier last year at the NCAA Championships on the vault, so she is very good there. ESPN women's basketball triple header tomorrow afternoon. Number 22 North Carolina and Notre Dame start us off at 1 Eastern. Then the 12th ranked LSU Tigers host 2nd ranked Texas, and the afternoon wraps up with Duke and Stanford.
And just caught that on her fingertips. When that happens, you can feel it, and there's really nothing you can do after you let go of the bar. Nikki has 30 seconds to get back up. It's always so difficult to compose yourself, have the confidence, the courage to get back up there again. They may have her repeat this skill. Watch, she just lets go way too early right here. Fingertips on top of the bar. And I'm glad she was safely able to get off the bar. Sometimes you just keep swinging and it's hard to control to get down safely.
So an unfortunate fall as we see junior Annalise Newman-Achi for Cal on balance beam, anchoring that event.
So Nikki's repeating that skill, looked a little bit off there again, but she's got to be tired because she's going right now, right away. So this routine is probably going to feel more tiring than usual, but hit that handstand right on top of the bar. Great comeback.
These are brand new bar rails, which means the bounce of them is slightly different than in your club gym. And Allie, you said it, she just mistimed it ever so slightly. It's crazy how every skill has to have the perfect angle for you to complete it.
And then Sam, then you add in these bars that you've never been on before. They're readjusting all the different heights and everything in between every athlete. So it feels different every time you go. It's so hard to adjust in that millisecond time.
So when you see athletes like Annalise stick the landing, the amount of things she had to adjust in that routine, it's incredible.
Cecily Rizzo now for Kentucky on floor exercise. Gardner, another 9.6 score for Kentucky. Coach Tim Garrison said this would be a challenging event for the team early in the season, hoping to build throughout, but slow start for them here.
No deduction for that sting mat you're seeing on the floor, just for extra padding on your ankles early in the season.
Cecily Rizzo and her teammate Delaney Rodriguez both doing the all-around here today, meaning they're doing all 4 events, competing for that all-around title.
And right here, I'm gonna watch her feet in between the jumps as they hit the floor. Judges are looking for your ankles squeezed together.
Well done.
That should be their highest score on this event, and they needed it.
And this first tumbling pass, double pike, nice control on that. And then right here, this double tuck, controls the landing well. Also, this early on in the season, doing 3 tumbling passes like that, well done.
So one more to go for Kentucky on floor exercise. That'll be Delaney Rodriguez. And one more to go here for Michigan State on bar, Sage Kellerman. Following that Nikki Smith 9.125. Need a hit here to race that score.
Yeah, this is going to be a challenge for Sage because I know she wants to drop that score from Nikki, but she also probably wants redemption for herself for what happened on vault. She's had to wait this entire time, so I know she really wants to do this well for herself. Doing an excellent job of keeping her calm. Excellent double layout, just floated. Couldn't have done that routine better. And Sam, you talk about coming back from mistakes. That to me is always so remarkable and memorable to see an athlete make a mistake. We're all human, we all make mistakes, but to come back like that and do a routine like that, she should be so proud of herself.
And now let's take a look at our featured athlete brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market. And Allie, it's Delaney Rodriguez, someone you spoke very highly of coming into this competition. Certainly been outstanding and so consistent for Kentucky.
Incredible. Delaney is one of those athletes that I am always so eager to see. There is something about the way that she carries herself. She's so confident, she's so consistent, and somehow just seems like she always finds that landing. I cannot wait to watch her on floor.
And Sam, favorite hobby, film photography. I do believe you got a wedding coming up. I mean,
what do you think her rates are?
I don't know, but she's going to be consistent. I can promise you that. Here she is on the floor exercise, anchoring this Wildcat rotation. 4 scores in the 9.6s. Certainly, Wildcats are hoping for one much bigger here from Rodriguez.
Her freshman year, Delaney actually started the team off on every single event because consistency is her superpower. But I'm guessing the coaches have seen her potential. They know they can score really high, so they've pushed her to the back of the lineup. I love that straddle jump. It's a really nice way to finish off the routine, and she gets an extra 10th bonus for that.
She's like the ultimate cool girl. The way she approaches her gymnastics is casual and nonchalant, and like this is no big deal. It's what every gymnast aspires to look like when they compete.
And now let's get down to talk with Coach Geraldine Stack-Eaton, brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Taylor?
Thank you so much, John. Well, Coach, your first competition here as head coach of Cal. Your team has the lead after 2 rotations. How would you assess the start?
I think we've done a great job so far. Bars was really great momentum, and then beam, I think, started out really well. We're just getting a little bit nervousness with some dismounts, some half tens here and there, but we have 2 great events left, and that's what I reminded them. Let's really focus on how we not give anything else away and just keep doing what we do every day in practice.
You mentioned the next 2 being great ones from your team. What stands out from you on the 2 we're about to see?
I think just how big our tumbling is, how great our artistry is, plus our just air awareness, and especially on the floor and the vaults, but just making sure that we can control those things on podium, knowing it's a little bit more bouncy, but not going too big, just big enough.
Looking forward to seeing it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
John.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. It's a tough spot to go into. You think as a coach, I want to go to a big story program because it's going to be easier, but you got to follow a legacy. I affectionately called Cal over the last few years the greatest team to have never won a national championship. And now Geraldine Stack-Eaton steps into those shoes. So the question is, where do they go from here?
Well, I was on the national team with Geraldine Stack-Eaton. I know her very well. And guess what, John? She is competitive.
I was going to say.
She said that one of her goals is to win a national championship as a coach, but she also wants to do it by cultivating a great team culture. So they have big visions for this program. I wouldn't count them out just yet, John.
Absolutely not. And you can see her husband right there, Rich Stenger, associate head coach. The score is in for Delaney Rodriguez, the biggest one of the floor rotation for Kentucky, 9.825. But it's the Cal Bears who maintain the lead, but it's gotten tighter. Just 0.125 ahead of Michigan. Michigan State right behind them. Kentucky in 4th.
We're back inside the Maverick Center for the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. Cal with a lead after 2 rotations. Well, Michigan State certainly looks to build off the success that was had last year. The program found themselves in the NCAA championship, continuing to climb under head coach Mike Rowe after taking over the program in 2018. As you can see, steady progress, which this team is committing to after the highest finish in program history last season.
Trying to get over that hump of the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8 seemed like it took forever, but it finally did happen. And now that they've experienced it, they're so hungry to want to do it again.
We're the team to watch because you don't expect us to be as good as we are. I think we're very good at building. So what we had last season is always there. It's always staying there, and we're trying to work better and harder and be more consistent this year. Just try to one-up ourselves from last year.
We're still hungry. We still have that goal to just keep going.
I think passion is like a really good word for our team because you see the passion, the pride in our eyes, how much we want it and how like bad we want to win.
The underdog mentality had been placed on us, but that gives us a lot of drive to push forward, and we just really want to prove people wrong.
I spoke with Michaela Tucker about coming back after a season like that, and she said it lights a different fire under you. Once you've tasted success, you tend to get a little bit hungrier, but this team knows they can't try and duplicate what was done last season. If they're going to do it again this year and find themselves in Fort Worth at the end of the season, they have to do it dependent on this team's makeup and personality. But make no mistake, they want to see that Spartan program continue to be on the national stage. We're looking forward to seeing how this one closes out. 2 more rotations to go. Michigan State will head to the beam. Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad continues.
And Sage Kellerman from MSU having a memorable bar routine, getting a 9.925 because of big, high-flying release moves like that. And then this gorgeous double layout, hips open, elbows extended, and sticks the landing.
What a gamer. I love watching her compete.
And the Spartans absolutely needed that one. Nikki Smith right before her with an unfortunate error, and that keeps Michigan State in it, just 0.3 behind Cal. They sitting in the 3rd spot. Cal maintains the lead through the first 2 rotations. Aderinto for Cal was the high score on balance beam, 9.825, but probably the highlight of that rotation, Allie, is the bar routine you just talked about from Kellerman in that 9.925. We're halfway through. Guys, heading into this 3rd rotation, athletes to watch.
I'm very excited to watch Carly Bauman. She is excellent on this event, does one of the most difficult dismounts a double front. You cannot see the landing. It's very difficult. Your feet hit the mat before your eyes do.
And quickly, Nikki Smith on beam has a great dismount.
And here we go with Kentucky right out of the gate on vault. Addison Hofseth leads things off. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I want to be highlighted by you two guys. Sage Kellerman and Nikki Smith have both been highlighted, and they've both had mistakes. So I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm just saying.
It's early in the season, John.
It's early in the season. Fair. Ava Jordan now on the uneven bars for Michigan. Again, reminder, 0.125 behind the Cal Bears. That is razor thin. That is a step on a landing. The difference between 1 and 2 right now.
And Ava Jordan on bars, that release move was so nice. She really stretched her body when she was catching the high bar. I'm noticing that her toes are so elongated. She's stretching so far from her shoulders. Really nice, what the judges want to see. The only deduction I saw was that blindfold at the top of the bar. Would have loved to see it a little bit more on the handstand. Made her release the bar for the dismount a little too early.
Over to beam for Michigan State. Katie Duplessis, the sophomore from Spring Lake, Michigan, leads things off here in that ever-important lead-off spot on balance beam.
Starting with a triple series, handspring layout, no problems. Last year, the coaches just kept saying that Katie has no idea how good she is. But this year, they said she's starting to realize it. You can tell in her technique and form and her confidence, it's growing.
And the team in first, the Cal Bears, they move over to the floor exercise, and this is Jaden Silvers, the senior out of Culver City, California, getting things going.
Lifting that leg, left-hand side of your screen, one wobble from Michigan State. Beam has been giving some of these teams trouble in this second session. Nice finish.
Kentucky on vault, Cecily Rizzo. She's been working the 1.5 on this event. Not sure if we'll see it here.
Nice, Yurchenko full. She is such a fast twister. Really does a good job of getting off the table before she starts generating a twist.
She follows Hofseth's 9.75 on vault. Ava Jordan, a 9.825 to lead off Michigan on the uneven bars. Lily Clapper, the senior out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, coming up in the 2 spot. Good start for Michigan. Can they make a move, get ahead of the Cal Bears who are on floor exercise?
Lily swinging very fast right now. It's hard sometimes when you're nervous to take your time. Lily was working on a bunch of different dismounts, was having trouble finding one that sticks.
Junior Kendall Abney from Michigan State on balance beam. She's only done exhibition in her first 2 routines, or first 2 years rather, as a Spartan.
And she just did the most nicely placed wolf turn, double wolf turn. That is, in my opinion, one of the most difficult skills you can do on balance beam.
And you also need a lot of knee flexibility to do it. My body doesn't let me do that. It's not easy. You got to bend your knee all the way.
I don't think I could do that either. I'm glad it wasn't in my code of points. One of the best stories that I heard on coaches' calls was about Kendall Abney. They had a competition in training on balance beam and about who could go the longest without a fall on beam. And you guys want to guess? If you're watching, guess how long she went without a fall. 5 weeks without one fall in practice. That is almost unheard of, but it built confidence for her to show up in these moments, hit such a strong beam routine. I think we're gonna see a lot of this athlete throughout the rest of the season.
I completely agree. And Sam, that dismount, that side aerial right here, I would be so scared to try this. This is so difficult to stay straight. Most athletes will do the round off. She does the side aerial with no hands. Incredibly impressive.
Guys, she hit the gritty after that. I mean, Justin Jefferson would be thrilled. Over to floor exercise. Silvers with a 9.75 in the leadoff spot. This is CJ Kanicki for the Cal Bears, sophomore from Denver, Colorado. Callie Gardner, left hand to your screen for Kentucky on vault.
Looking for some clean landings. Ooh. Looks like the ground surprised her a bit. When her feet landed, her chest was parallel to the ground. When your feet land, you want to be in that vertical shape.
What stands out to me about CJ's floor routine is she rebounds and jumps out of all of her tumbling passes, which she's not only getting bonus 10s for her start value, but the judges are not able to see if she needed to take a step. So you're giving the illusion of actually more control right here.
Kayla Tucker from Michigan State on beam now. She's their third gymnast. Scores building for them. Abney with a 9.875 right before her.
Left-hand side of your screen, Kayla Tucker. This is her series. Hitch kick into a front aerial, back handspring. Good rhythm from start of that combination to finish. She's about to do a really big front toss after this jump series. And I want you to notice how high she gets off the beam. Excuse me, side aerial. Again, really good control after each of these skills.
The sophomore Sophia Diaz mounts the bars, following a 9.85 from Clapper. Good run here for Michigan so far here in the third rotation.
Good backswing for Sophia Diaz. Gorgeous double layout, just plants her feet. Excellent.
I hope you guys can watch 2 boxes at once because I love seeing both athletes go back-to-back sticks.
Now watch her shoulder position right here. She kept moving, but she looked a little bit crooked to me. And what was so impressive is that she handled it like a pro. Looked like one of her shoulders was dipped ever so slightly.
Over to vault with Ryan Noonan. Following that 9.6 from Gardner. They're going to want to try to erase that one. Need 3 clean landings here for the Wildcats.
Yurchenko half on, Pike half off. Really good quick twitch kick when she got on the table. Nice finish.
Another look at the sophomore Sage Melkonian for the Bears. Keep an eye on those scores, in particular between Michigan and Cal. Yes, Michigan State right behind them, only 3/10 out after the last rotation, but you can get an idea of how close this is. A couple 9.8s for Michigan, a 9.75 and a 9.825 for Cal on floor. So slight advantage to the Wolverines here early in the third rotation.
Little crooked on that wolf jump. It's a hard jump to do because you're leaning forward and you also have to keep your shoulders square.
For Michigan State on beam, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year in 2023. She's a senior now. It's Nikki Smith. in the 4 spot, following Tucker's 9.85. Michigan State also closing the gap on the 2 leading teams, Cal and Michigan.
As powerful as Nikki Smith is on floor and vault, she also brings that to beam, gets so high off the beam on this series, left-hand side of your screen. Big arm circle back, but nice job squeezing her core and pulling that hip back on. Having a little bit of a balance check after that jump hop. You can see her taking a deep breath, breathing through it. That might be a little nerves. Again, it's early in the season. It's their first meet of the season, and you kind of have to remember to dust the cobwebs off no matter how many years you've competed, and remember your process, what works for you. But this dismount, round off, double back. Watch this. Oh my gosh, how does she do it?
The most difficult dismount being done in the entire competition.
I love the finish. Now over to bars. This is a big moment. This is freshman Miley Liu. She's sensational on this event. Won the 2025 U.S. Classics here. And right before her, Diaz with a 9.925.
Yeah, and they've reworked this routine. They're working to find the least deductible routine possible. She switched it to that pike Jaeger that we saw in the beginning, but check out this toe point.
Yeah, if you watched her as an elite gymnast, she just has so many skills.
Delaney Rodriguez, she's in the hunt for the all-around as well, following Noonan's 9.85.
New vault for her, Yurchenko 1.5. I want to see her get a little bit higher, but really impressive as a junior. She's learning a new skill there.
And watch Nikki's knees as she hits the beam. They are straight, and she just opens up. Arms go right in front of her to stick the landing.
It's funny you say that, because I was going to say, watch her knees when she lands. She does the perfect amount of bend to stick the landing.
I'm pretty sure she was going for an Amon-Ra St. Brown impression, the wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. Might need a little work on that, but he definitely needs work on his round-off double back dismount off beam.
Maybe they could teach each other a few things.
That was outstanding. A 9.875 for Nikki Smith on that beam routine. Isabella Trostel now. They're looking to drop that 9.75. 2 routines to go. If they can, they're counting all scores in the 9.8s or above, most likely, and that would be big, closing the gap on Cal and Michigan.
They call her Biz, and this is a really important routine to the whole team. Look at them standing, all just giving their energy to her, because she was out the first 2 years with an ACL. They watched her work to get back to this moment competing, and she's just radiating up there.
And that Anodi skill is so difficult, requires so much back and shoulder flexibility, connects it with ease into the jump.
Good back handspring layout. This is an event that the coaches told us they have so much depth that it's really tough to choose their lineup, that the athletes keep asking them, what do I have to do to get in lineup? Which, as you guys know, is the best problem for a coach to have. Look at this celebration from the team. What a special moment.
I think that's going to be the biggest score from MSU. The rhythm, the cadence, everything was there. Check out this flexibility. Completely does a half turn. Unbelievable, and moves her arms. Judges want to see a continuous movement. Well done.
Rodriguez got a 9.8 for her vault. Now the final vaulter, Anna Flynn Cashin, sophomore from Cornelius, North Carolina, finishes things out here in the 3rd rotation for the Wildcats.
Well, head coach Tim Garrison said it's one of the biggest pike halves you've ever seen. Wow.
He didn't lie.
He did not lie. That was beautiful.
You got to be careful throwing that around, because the first session, one of the coaches was Haley Bryant, and no one's ever done it bigger than her. That was close, though.
That was really nice. Check out this block. Good timing on the twist. Legs stay glued together.
I want to see a 1.5.
Yeah, just opens her feet up. Piked it down ever so slightly right when she hit the mat. If she extended, she's going to get that stick.
Sophie Parenti now in the 5 spot for Michigan on what's been an outstanding bar rotation.
Caught that ever so slightly close, did a good job of rising her shoulders and her head to give her the right distance to catch the bar.
Lilia Kosman now on balance beam in that anchor spot. Trostel, a 9.925. Allie, you were right. Biggest score of the rotation for the Spartans.
And Sophie might be on track to get another massive score for MSU. Michigan, that handstand on top of the bar was textbook.
Left-hand side of your screen, Lilia Kosman. Really, oh man. I thought she had fighting chance to save that, but couldn't quite hang on to it at the end. So they're definitely going to be dropping that score.
And that means they're going to count that 9.75. You can see it on the top of their column there under MSU. So how much does this cost them? If this score was a 9.9, for example, they count a 9.9 instead of a 9.75, so a 1/10.5 theoretically swing in their team score, which as tight as this competition is starting to become, that can make a huge difference.
And she competed at the Olympics, so she's has experience competing under that type of pressure, but I always say there is nothing that replaces competing on a college team on podium. Look, your team is right there. Feeling those nerves are a bit different than the elite world. Nice finish.
So that does it for Kosman on beam. Over to floor exercise with Sage Malaconi and Taylor.
We've got Annalise Newman-Achie going for her first pass here on floor, John, and it's always an interesting element how teams respond after a coaching change. That's the case across all sports in today's day and age of the transfer portal. I spoke with Annalise this week, and she said that Geraldine Stack-Eaton came in, had individual meetings with all the athletes, told them their vision, and they immediately bought in. Annalise said, if anyone's asking if this is a rebuild year, she said, no, it's just a renovation.
I love that word, renovation.
That's fantastic. And I love how I tested Taylor there on the name of the athlete, see how she got it right. Thanks, Taylor.
Keeping me on my toes, John.
So Cal having a decent floor rotation, but when you look at what Michigan's doing on bars and what Michigan State's doing on balance beam, even with that Kosman mistake at the end of that rotation, they are going to struggle. Unless they put up big numbers with their last couple athletes here, they're going to struggle to hold that lead.
But this is it's the very beginning of the season. You got to admire Cal's steadiness, their calmness. If I'm a Cal coach, I'm thrilled with how the athletes are doing so far.
Anchoring the Michigan bar rotation, Carly Bauman. Their low score right now, a 9.825, so she can let it fly here. Try to go big.
And this height on this Jaeger release move is so exciting to watch. This is one of the most difficult bar dismounts being done in the entire competition. She's gonna, right here, do a double front. Your feet hit the ground before you can see where you're going. Very hard to stick.
How nice must it be to be Michigan, having your anchor be a 6th year? We've seen so many freshmen, and Michigan has freshmen as well competing, but it's got to feel good to just have those guaranteed experienced athletes like Reina Gugino and Carly Bauman for Michigan.
So with that bar routine, Michigan will stay ahead of Michigan State. The question is, where will Cal fall into the lineup after this third rotation? They were in the lead. They had a .125 cushion over the Wolverines, which is not much, especially you look at the scores for Michigan there on bars. They're almost certainly going to drop that 9.825 after that Carly Bauman bar routine. We move over to floor. Now pressure is on the freshman Tanya Paulson.
Her routine and her movements, it's almost mesmerizing to me. It's just so beautiful to watch.
Perfectly timed that double pike. And I love this. We don't typically see the switch sweep right at the end of the routine. Sam, I agree with you. She really leaves me wanting more.
She wasn't originally slated to be in this floor lineup due to some back soreness yesterday, earlier in the week, but Cal's very thankful that she is, because that's gonna be another good score for her.
And front through to double tuck, gets 1/10 bonus for connecting that front through. And then watch the way that she opens up just at the perfect time right here. And so controlled.
Nicely done from Tanya Paulson. We'll cap off a NFL wildcard weekend Monday night. The Steelers host the Texans. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app with Peyton and Eli, the Manning cast on ESPN2. All the coverages, it's awesome. Pre-game coverage begins with SVP and the Monday Night Countdown crew at 6 Eastern on ESPN. I'm just sad my Vikings aren't in the playoffs. It's okay. One more to go for the Cal Bears. Tanya Paulson, an elite gymnast, competed internationally, competed for Taiwan. I am told by her coaches, however, Garland Stack-Eaton, that her elite career is behind her now and she's focusing on that collegiate career, but you can see that elite international pedigree coming through when she performs.
The detail, the precision, it's all the things that college gymnastics fans everywhere are gonna fall in love with her gymnastics if they haven't already.
Junior Kyan Mayhew will anchor this rotation, 9.875 for Tanya Paulson. Cal needed to average on these last two routines, Paulson and Mayhew, a 9.975 to maintain the lead, or at least a tie for the lead with Michigan. Obviously, that not going to happen now. The question is, where will they fall?
Wow. Twisted that front double twist very fast. Love to see that. Kyan's the only gymnast going, so everyone in the arena, all eyes are on her.
Such a strong twister. Really well-placed, well-timed combination passes. Watch her punch. Good arm positions, opens at the right time to just float for that front pike down. Very difficult combination. She made it look easy. Another combination pass again. Those transitions, she just perfectly opens up her arms at the correct time to just place that last flip to the ground.
So we're waiting for that Kyan Mayhew score to come in on floor exercise for Cal. What we do know, Michigan will have the lead after this third rotation. You can see the bottom right of your screen, Michigan State currently sits tied with Cal for the second spot. Will this final score be enough? If they drop that 9.75 from silvers, the Cal Bears, they will move ahead of Michigan State. Bottom line, it is all going to be within 0.325 heading into the fourth and final rotation. And really, for all intents and purposes, you guys, anybody's meet to win.
And as we saw with the first meet of the season, Allie, you and I were going to just say the same thing. It comes down to every little detail, and it came down to the last routine. So these athletes know that. They're not new to competition. They're not new to gymnastics meets. So.
And there's the score for Mayhew at 9.825. And of course, why not just slide right in between Michigan and Michigan State? So there you go, the Wolverines in the top spot after 3. Cal Bears right behind them. Michigan State is 3rd, followed by Kentucky in the 4th spot. All gonna come down to the 4th and final rotation. The first quad we had a tie. Why not a 3-way tie? Let's go for the 4th rotation. Welcome back to the Maverik Center. We are through 3 rotations, heading into the 4th. The Michigan Wolverines on top, followed by the Cal Bears, Michigan State in 3rd, and Kentucky rounds out the top 4. John Roethlisberger, Allie Raisman, Sam Peshek. What a competition, what a day we have had so far.
It's been an exciting day of gymnastics. We've seen a lot of massive vaults. We've seen a little bit of struggles on beam, which is to be expected. It's the beginning of the season, so I'm really proud to see how strong these athletes have come back.
I mean, come on, finishing in a tie? Could you want anything more for the beginning of gymnastics season? How exciting, and I think it just shows how much potential all these teams have if this is our starting point right now.
Yeah, crazy. That first quad meet, a tie between LSU and Oklahoma, had to go to the tiebreaker. But we also have some individual stars in that competition as well, most notably Kaylin Chio and Jordan Childs.
Kaylin Chio was a standout last year, maybe the best freshman season of any college gymnast ever, and she didn't disappoint today. She got 1st place in the all-around, even beating out Olympic champion Jordan Childs. She's just so clean, so consistent, and by the way, she didn't think she was even going to compete in the all-around because she had an ankle roll a week ago. She's incredible.
And Jordan Childs, she is a superstar. Watch this double layout dismount on bars, just the slightest little hop. She had such a great day today, finishing up on beam, and I'm such a fan of Jordan. She is so authentically herself, and it just creates magic.
Yeah, so many great personalities in that first session as well. Jordan Childs being the biggest one, big double twist right there. She is going to be fun to watch this season. But guys, let's go back to that tie, if we can, just for a second, because we anticipated a great matchup, in particular between LSU and Oklahoma, the 2 teams that have won the last 2 national championships. Sam, what can that tell us about what's to come and how tight it's going to be when we get to the national championship?
Well, I think Oklahoma's excited to have the win, but I actually think this is better news for LSU, because what better to go back in the gym and to have that fire lit and have something to work for. They're remembering this 2nd place right now, and it's going to make them hungrier to do better next meet.
I don't know if Jay Clark, the head coach for LSU, would agree that the loss is good. Hey, don't forget, Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. It's going to come back next year in 2027. We're going to be in Greenville. Man, it's going to be a good time. Hey, we're coming back with the 4th rotation. It's going to be awesome. Don't go away. We are through 3, getting ready for the 4th and final rotation. The first half of the competition, it was Cal on top. But Michigan, on the strength of that outstanding bar rotation, Diaz and Bauman both with 9.925s. They've moved them into the lead, but it's only by 0.225 over the Cal Bears. Michigan State right behind them as well. So really 3 teams in the hunt for the title here. Kentucky a little ways back. They will need a whole lot of help from the leaders, but nonetheless trying to finish strong for them as well. Cal will be on the vault, Kentucky on bars, Michigan on balance beam, Michigan State on floor exercise. And the first gymnast to go for the Bears, Sage Melkonian.
Yurchenko full. Tried a little too hard to go for the stick, had to take the hop forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Was jumping out of that one, looking for that stuck landing. And that's the hop, that hop forward on a Yurchenko full, y'all. That's one that your judges really love to sharpen the pencil. Michigan on the balance beam. And I would love to know the keys for Michigan on beam. Taylor, you got anything on that?
Well, what do you know, John? Your wish is my command. Yes, I spoke with head coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin. This is her event. She told me she had 3 keys for her athletes. The first is trust. She said, trust yourself. Trust that your routine is a masterpiece. Just go show it off. Second, be aggressive. We're going after this thing in the final rotation. And third, melt into the equipment. She said, especially on beam, being on podium, it's going to feel a little bit different, telling them to melt into it. Sam, we heard that earlier this week. Thought it was an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, perfect. Watch this. Back handspring layout. Oh, she actually didn't melt on the beam there. And melting means absorbing the beam. And typically, Sophie Parenti does the best job of this. I'll point it out. She lands and just bends her knees, the perfect placement to absorb correctly the beam where there's no wobble. I've never heard a coach call it melt, so I actually told head coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin on the call that I loved that. I'm gonna start saying that on the broadcast because it makes so much sense.
Sophie Parenti comes from quite a pedigree of athletes in her family. Her dad, 2-time Olympic swimmer, mom, a 2-time Olympic diver. Holy cow, shoes to follow there. Stephanie Lebster from Michigan State on floor exercise, right hand of your screen. If you're a Kentucky fan wondering what's going on in the even bars, I guess there is an issue with the podium. They're working it out. I suspect it will be reconciled quickly.
Stephanie's going to finish with a double tuck.
Casey Brown, outstanding bar routine earlier in this competition. Here she is, second gymnast to go for the Bears on vault.
Working on those good quality vaults in the air. That's what you want to see. Really like how strong she finished that vault with her upper chest in the vertical position.
And Stephanie surprised me. She did a different tumbling pass.
Michigan State finishing on floor exercise. Good opportunity for them. Cal's not going to win this with difficulty on vault. They're going to have to just be super clean. Michigan, what are they going to do on beam? They have the start values, but as we've seen, those wobbles can come quickly. Here's freshman Quincy Walters. They've got to be solid. They want to hold on to that top seed.
And you got to see them melt.
I love how Quincy finished that full turn on releve. It's not only more elegant to look at, but it also makes it harder because normally you put your heel down to stop yourself from turning.
You can see her visibly breathing. That's a good sign. That means she's taking control of her nerves, and you can also see that how controlled her combinations are. Your arm positions are so important, and that's the first thing to go awry when you're starting to feel those nerves. Wow.
finally getting going with Cecily Rizzo for Kentucky on bars. Taylor, what happened over there?
Well, guys, the issue is the podium base was lifting. They actually had several people underneath the podium reattaching the base to the actual floor of the arena. It was actually Michigan's coaching staff that brought it to the attention after they just competed on bars. And one of the side judges told me she started noticing a difference in the foundation. It is secure and obviously clear to go.
And Cecily was supposed to keep her body laid out throughout, had to tuck her legs. Not sure if she slipped off the bar.
Well, we know what Michigan's secret weapon was on bars because they had a great bar rotation. It was the loose podium. Here goes Wiley on vault for the Cal Bears.
Another good Yurchenko full. This is the event where coaches really play with the risk versus reward strategy to upgrade to the 10-0 vaults or to do the most clean 995 start value vaults, and we see which direction Cal's going.
Maya Wiley liked it. Sophomore out of Silverdale, Washington, now back over to floor exercise. Michigan State started with a 9.825. Great start score. Now freshman Lilia Kosman with a chance to build on that.
Very difficult 2.5 punch front. I feel like that is a connection that has given many athletes over the years a lot of trouble. It's just so difficult to time that and have your shoulders and your chest in the right position.
Ava Jordan on balance beam for Michigan. Big time score right before her from Walters, 9.95.
It always feels nice when you go after a big score. There's something comfortable about and freeing to just be aggressive on balance beam. That's what I'm seeing from the left-hand side of your screen, Ava Jordan.
Yeah, Ava walked on as a freshman. She's out of Indianapolis, Indiana, Sam. DeVos Gymnastics. You ever heard of that club before?
Yeah, that's the gym that I trained for the Olympics at, and it's always such a proud mom moment for me to see athletes coming from that gym and doing well in college gymnastics. Coaches say that Ava's really been such a vocal leader on the team. That's a huge front toss. If they can keep these scores building, or at least keep the score steady from that 995, this is going to be a huge beam rotation for Michigan. No obvious errors for Ava Jordan at the moment. And finishing a stick, that's going to be another good score for Michigan.
Handling the nerves potentially of finishing a meet, trying to clinch a meet on balance beam, and so far Michigan Wolverines looking like they are up to the task.
Gainer Pike just spots the landing, smiling I think even before her feet hit the floor. That's a nice feeling.
So back over to vault with the Cal Bears. Annalise Newman-Chi. The fourth gymnast to go. So scores building a little bit. They got that 9-8, but these last three for the Bears really feel like they need to be at that 9-9, maybe even a little better with as good as the other teams are doing.
Powerful athlete and unfortunate hop, then a step back. Judges can take up to 4/10 of landing deductions.
And that they're going to get her on that one. That was a big slide step out of that. Ava Jordan puts up another 995, back-to-back 995s for the Michigan Wolverines. Cesara Ranger now, 3 gymnasts to go for Michigan. Feels like the ball is in their court. This meet is there to win, but you got to hit 3 beam routines to make it happen.
So the trick now is not to try harder on balance beam. Sometimes when the scores start to rise, mentally you might think, could I get a 10? And the answer is yes, but you can't be thinking about that during this difficult triple series. Hand lay. Good, quick correction at the end.
I love watching their arm position on beam. They're so tight. Love it.
Huge front toss. It's really difficult to finish with almost straight legs, vertical chest.
And we're going to see the same dismount we saw from Nikki Smith, MSU, the most difficult dismount, round off double tuck.
Can she stick it?
Wow. Another one.
That is so difficult. I don't make the rules, but they should get a 10th bonus at least for sticking a double back off beam.
By far the hardest dismount being done.
The only mistake in the routine came, she just kept getting a bit more crooked, so impressive she was able to hold on to that at the end. But this really was the highlight. Great setup. She spot the landing nicely, good chest position. Wow.
Unbelievable. The team MVP for Michigan last year gets it done. The College Football National Championship game presented by AT&T is Monday, January 19th at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. We'll have pregame coverage all day and have you covered for the game on every platform, TV, radio, and digital. So many ways to watch and listen to the biggest game of the year, Miami versus Indiana. Going to be a good one. Jaden Silvers on vault for the Cal Bears, senior out of Culver City, California. Just one vaulter yet to go. Seems like the possibility of Cal moving up into that first place spot, slipping away in this rotation. It seems like a Michigan State meet right now for the gold.
Wow, that full-in double pike was so beautiful because she did a back layout full, waited a moment, and then piked her legs.
Oh yeah, head coach Mike Rowe said that it's the highest full in NCAA and that you could probably walk under it, but I don't think they want to try that.
I think she should do that in a layout position. That was really well done.
Kaylee Boozer for Michigan, left hand to your screen. Feels like these are the two teams right now that are battling it out for that top spot. Ranger a 9.875. 2 left to go for Michigan. Boozer and Bauman to try to win it.
She's really pretty left-hand side of your screen. The way that she works beam, similar to Kaylin Chio, in my opinion. Delicate, places her feet down to the landing position. Front aerial, possibly broken connection there.
I love the rhythm of Michigan's beam. They are continuously moving so hard to keep your composure, resting in between each skill. Judges will take deduction if they're not seeing a fluid movement. No issues here.
A 9.475 from Kaylee Boozer right here on beam for Michigan would eliminate Cal from the opportunity to win this competition. That would just leave Michigan State in the hunt to track down the Wolverines.
Man, they're on a roll on balance beam.
And that score, in my opinion, should be no problem.
They already have 2 9.95s, a 9.875 as well.
And it's because of skills like this. Watch right here, this standing switch leap. Most athletes will walk into it, and she does it from standing. Hits well above that 180-degree. Beautiful flexibility.
Jaden Silvers for Cal, a 9.825. Cayenne Mayhew will wrap things up here for the Bears.
Doing a 1.5, #1 returner for Cal. Good finish position, very controlled landing, and hey, she's excited about it. Look at her arms on the table. I want to see them a bit straighter and her shoulders a bit more open so she goes up more than out.
Gabby Ortiz now for Michigan State on the floor exercise. Bars still having some problems over there. They had a judges meeting to talk about it. Hopefully they've gotten it ironed out. You can see Ryan Noonan did get that 9.75. Carly Bauman in the anchor spot, and I hate to ruin the headline for everybody watching, but the Michigan Wolverines with that Kaylee Boozer 9.95, the third one of the beam rotation for the Wolverines. That is gonna clinch it. That's the team title for Michigan.
left-hand side of your screen. Good back handspring layout series. But John, this routine is still important because Michigan is trying to get the best team score that they can get. So right now they're dropping a 9-7. So there's a possibility if she gets a perfect 10, their team score could improve 3/10.
And just to put that in perspective, the defending NCAA champions, the Oklahoma Sooners, and the champion from 2024, the LSU Tigers, they tied at 197.5 earlier today. So a lot of people were wondering where Michigan would be, how good would they be? Well, guess what? They're going to be a few tenths most likely behind the top teams in the country.
And Carly Bauman, that 6th year, was part of the 2021 historic national championship Michigan team. She's helping this team get back to that place this year.
Well done. I'll tell you what, we all wondered what to expect from all 4 of these teams, really. A lot of new faces and just new personalities, and I think Michigan answered a lot of questions. Honestly, I think Cal did too. Cal looked great. Maybe they don't have that difficulty in particular on vault that they need to have, but they look good as well. Michigan State had some uncharacteristic mistakes as well as Kentucky, but it's nice to see a little clarity and some answers to those questions we had.
Well, you can't ignore, John, the fact that most of these teams, except Michigan that we've seen today, have a completely new makeup of their team. So many of the competitors from last season we saw are no longer here. So not only are we learning about them, but their coaches are learning about them in a competition setting, and that's huge coming off this first competition.
Yeah, you mentioned their coaches learning about them, and that sounds strange to people on the outside looking in, but you can do one thing in gymnastics practice, but it's another thing when you get on the big stage and do it under the big lights as Michigan celebrates what they've just learned to be a team title here in the big opener. Michaela Tucker now on floor exercise for Michigan State, looking to finish strong here following Ortiz's 9-8.
Head coach Mike Rose said that she's so tall, and he's really surprised in a good way how great and easy her gymnastics is, because really her center of gravity is different and it affects her gymnastics, but her gymnastics has grown with her height, and he said it makes her gymnastics even more beautiful.
And my favorite combination is this back layout, step out. I just think it's so effortless and beautiful. And then this was so well done, hips open, hips rose in the beginning, really nice control.
On the line, saved herself that 1/10 out of bounds.
On the line is in, people. It's like tennis. It's not like football.
Hey, coaches say her worst day is someone's best day. So I want to know how to be Kayla Tucker.
One more to go for Michigan State on floor exercise. That will be Nikki Smith, certainly one you will not want to miss. Kentucky on bars still having some trouble. A lot of judges' conferences, they have 3 scores in. 2 of those certainly are missed routines. The 9-0 they opened with from Rizzo, and then Gabby Van Freyen, a 9.25. Unfortunate couple of routines for them as Chesney Bennett, the sophomore, now in the 4 spot.
And we really can't underestimate how mentally difficult it is to wait so long. You're eager to go, you're nervous, your body's getting cold and not warmed up. So I'm very impressed right now by Chesney's routine. That release move was caught, perfect distance, and a gorgeous double layout. Really only the deduction I saw was just that small step on the dismount, but excellent, especially under those difficult circumstances.
Well, in addition to having to wait, you're watching someone actively fix the equipment. that you're assuming is really stable. So that can also get in your head, because the only thing you should be thinking about during your routine is your routine.
Plus, when they fix the equipment, sometimes it's a little bit tighter, less bouncier, more slippery. It just feels different.
And update, that was Isabella Ravelli in that 5 spot. Chesney Bennett in the 4 spot, 9.65 for her. And here is Nikki Smith to round things out for the Spartans. So the second spot is still up for grabs right here. Cal currently sits in the 2 spot. Obviously, Michigan's going to win it. Michigan State trying to move up, but it's going to have to be fantastic from Nikki Smith. In fact, beyond fantastic, it's going to have to be perfect. It's got to be a 10.
Well, John, she's the only gymnast in MSU history to get a 10 on this event, so she's certainly capable of doing that.
Time to repeat.
Wow, great landing. If it's not a 10, it's gonna be a high score. That was a really good anchor floor routine for Nikki Smith.
Watch her arms. Barely needs to grab her legs to pull herself over. And then this last tumbling pass, double tuck. Same thing we saw off beam, just stuck it again, like it's nothing. Makes it look easy, but it's certainly not.
And now the final gymnast for Kentucky on bars. This is Delaney Rodriguez. Right now, Kayla Tucker, by the way, is leading the all-around. But Rodriguez can take the title with a 9.725 right here for this routine.
And Delaney has had to wait a while to go, so it's hard not to get in your head and overthink. But John, looks like she's on the right track to get that score. That maybe 1/10 deduction on that dismount, that step.
But those handstands, man, she hit that vertical position really easily. Nicely done.
That'll absolutely be enough for Delaney Rodriguez. Certainly not the day the Kentucky Wildcats as a team we're hoping for, but they are going to leave with a title for what it's worth. I know Tim Garrison puts that team first and should and always will, but it's nice to get that all-around title if you're Delaney Rodriguez. Nikki Smith and 9.85. That does mean that Michigan State will stay in that 3rd spot. The Cal Bears just ahead of them, less than 2/10, 0.125 actually ahead of Michigan State for that 2nd spot. But a comfortable win for the Michigan Wolverines.
I mean, they got to feel really good about that beam rotation. They certainly should. That's going to give them a huge confidence boost. It's difficult starting on beam, but I also got to give them credit. It's hard to end on beam when you've got that much pressure.
And that is the 2nd win for the Michigan Wolverines at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad, and they did it on the strength of a new school record on the balance beam. The previous record was set in 2023. They put up a 49.65, and what an exclamation point on a big win.
And I got to make a note that first-time head coach Miley Caneva-Hermelin, this was her event. So to see these athletes show up and put on a performance like that, I think there's a lot more exciting things to come for this Michigan team.
And I got to give a shout-out real quick to Bev Plotke. She retired 36 years at the helm of the Michigan Wolverines, and she was not just a great coach. Dominated the Big Ten, won that national title in 2021, and I'll tell you this, a trailblazer, a pioneer for women in this sport, and she kind of made it a quiet retirement. We didn't get to celebrate her throughout the season, but just a shout out to her, Bev. Hopefully you're watching, hopefully you're proud right now, because you've done a lot to get this team where it's at.
100% she paved the way for Michigan gymnastics. I've had such a pleasure of knowing her, and these athletes are really lucky to compete under a school that she started this program and developed it.
Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. We're not done. We're coming back. Shout out to Delaney Rodriguez as well. 9.9 for that bar routine. She gets the all-around title there. We'll come back. We'll button all this up when we return. Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad is brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market, powering women on and off the mat. Your final score here in the second quad of the day. Zara Ranger and the Michigan Wolverines, they get it done, and they do it in commanding fashion over the Cal Bears by almost a point. Right behind them, though, the Michigan State Spartans, less than 2/10 in that third spot. Kentucky, a tough day for them. They finish in fourth. Well, Taylor Davis is with somebody who got to think is pretty happy. She's with the winning coach.
I would think so, John. Absolutely. Well, Coach, to close out a very close competition, your team heads over to the beam, and you win it with a school record on beam. What were your thoughts on that last rotation?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm just so incredibly proud of every single one of my athletes from the beginning to the end on all 4 events. But that's exactly what we do in the gym every single day. And I just told them to go over there and be normal, melt into the beam, absorb the beam, just be one with the beam. But, you know, throw the attitude around, like, own it. And that's exactly what they did. They trusted themselves, they trusted their training, they trusted me, and it was incredible to watch, incredible to be a part of.
Well, if that's their normal, you're in good shape. But obviously, starting out this season with a meet this stacked, you're bound to learn a lot about your group. What'd you learn tonight?
I learned a lot about each and every one of these athletes, that when the lights go on, they're focused, they're dialed in, they remember those details that we tell them in the gym, and they have a blast. So that was very evident tonight, and there's plenty to work on, plenty to go back into the gym and work on. But I'm overall just so blessed to be working with these athletes and the staff. It's incredible.
We've talked about how long this dream has been yours to be a head coach.
Yes.
Your first competition at the helm, and you get your first win. What did this one mean to you?
It just means so much to me, not just for the win, but to do this as a family, to show up, you know, in the gym every day with the workouts and the conditioning and the early mornings and the late nights and the brainstorming sessions with the staff, and it all kind of come together. And this is, you know, the first of many competitions this year. So like I said, there's still a lot to do, a lot to learn, but I am just so happy with how tonight went for so many different reasons.
An incredible way to start for you and the team.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Go Blue.
John.
Yeah, she is undefeated, by the way, in her head coaching career, Miley Caneva-Hermelin, and she did it on the strength of this rotation.
It's a really tough thing to end on beam, and to do it in this fashion. Ava Jordan showing commanding series, followed it up with the rest of the lineup. Kaylee Boozer looking for a strong finish, and of course, 2021 National Championship team member Carly Bauman. How could you ask for anything better to finish that meet with?
Yeah, outstanding finish, you guys. Let's start with you, Allie. Final thoughts on the day. Outstanding gymnastics start to finish.
I don't even know where to start, but I'll start with that epic beam ending for Michigan. It was fantastic. It's hard to believe that this is just the beginning of the season. I'm so in awe of these athletes, their confidence, their trust in themselves and each other. It's going to be a great season.
Sam, what do we do for an encore? Because this is a heck of a start to the collegiate season.
I think the best is yet to come. I think we can see a lot more controlled landings. Miley said it in her interview, head coach of Michigan, that there's still lots to work on, and I think every head coach feels that way. There's some things to celebrate, but I think everybody's excited to get back in the gym and to improve each event by a couple tenths or two.
Yeah, you always try to be perfect in this sport, but you never are. So you go back to that gym and you keep trying to work on it. Here is your Sprouts Farmers Market schedule. Notable meets this season. Let's talk about the one right at the top. LSU versus Oklahoma, a rematch, if you will. That will be February 20th. So many great meets, and it'll culminate in that national championship April 18th. You just got to tune in. Friday night, Heights is coming up. We will be there for you. It is going to be a lot of fun. Such a fun time of the year for college sports. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys keep watching that as well. You guys, this has been fun. Yeah?
I had a good time. I can't believe it's only the beginning of season. It really feels like that postseason energy.
It absolutely does. Allie, great to see you as well. And, you know, I thought you brought that energy that maybe that was the difference. That brought the excitement today. What do you think?
I think it was because of all of their hard work, but thank you. I'm not taking any credit for all of their amazing gymnastics.
Let's shout out to our producer, by the way, Carol Lagana. She only yelled at me 16 times today. You guys at home couldn't hear that, but we love you. You're amazing. Great job for you. Michigan, they do get the win in Session 2 of the Sparks Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. I am John Roethlisberger. For Taylor Davis, Allie Raisman, Sam Peshek. So long. Coming up next, SEC Storied Gymnastics continues next Friday night with a triple header highlighted by Alabama versus Florida on ESPN2. So long, everybody.